We need to talk.
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 Welcome back to We Talk, episode number 90. Woo! I'm Mr. KOA alongside
Top Boy.
Actually, I want to talk about something real interesting today, actually. So yesterday I talked to my mom for the first time. We've been discussing over the last few episodes our perspectives on, you know, the traditional relationship, different marriages, people's perspectives on what they're looking for. We've been talking about that for the last couple episodes, different people. And I talked to my mom last night about my view of a customized marriage. And she's like, boy, what the fuck?
Like, did she listen in or something?
Huh? No. So, well, she listened to our podcast. Like,
you told her about it.
Yeah, she's like, she listened to some of her like the snippets and stuff. So she's like, I heard some of her stuff. She follows our stuff. But she called me yesterday and she was kind of just talking about like where I am at life and my perspective on things, whatever. And I was like, honestly, mom, like I'm at a stage now where I'm like, I'm just gonna be brutally honest with people. Like I think I just don't have the time, and I feel like I've spent so many years doing it the other way, where I've, you know, sacrificed certain things, or I've done things for other people, and because someone else wants this, or this makes them comfortable. So I'm like, I've done it. I've spent so many years doing it that way, and I've still ended up with failed relationships. So I'm like, why not? Why not try it the other way? Why not try another tactic? Why not try being myself entirely? And if that doesn't work, then it doesn't really matter because it's still the same outcome. But at least I can say like, I did it my way this time. If it didn't work doing it my way and it still doesn't work, then hey, but it already hasn't worked not doing it my way. So what is there to lose? You know what I mean? So I was bringing that up to her, and I was telling her about it, and just like my idea of a customized marriage. And she's like, go on. Like, you know what I mean? And me and my mom are cool. So she's kind of like, what shit are you about to tell me right now? I'm like, listen, if we're being honest, like my mom's married right now. And this is her first time being married. She's 50 now. And she's happy. She's very happy. She married the guy, and, you know, she loves him, whatever. And I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to cause no issues, but you and I both know that in your marriage, no matter who you marry, I'm like, no one person can make you entirely happy, can make you completely fulfilled. It's not realistic. We know that. We know that the 80-20 rule. We know all that bullshit. And she's like, no, I'm very happy with my husband. I'm like, no. I know you're happy with your husband.
Not what I said.
That's not what I said. Of course you're happy with your husband. But he does not have everything that you want in a partner. And she's like, yeah, he does. I'm like, stop lying. She's like, okay, I know he doesn't, but like the things he has, I'm like, no, that's perfect. That's what we all do. We all get to a point where we're like, the things you do possess are enough for me to view as a partner, a potential life partner, my best friend, whatever. But you're absolutely aware there are things that we cannot, you know, possess in every single person that we have in one person, right? And she's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, so my proposal, which it could be wrong, it could be not, and I'm just saying, like, if we're all honest with ourselves, I'm like, Mom, do you think you're happy being with one person for the rest of your life? And she's like, yeah, like I am. I'm like, okay, cool. And that's for you. And that's fine. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm genuinely telling you, I can be married. I could have kids, a beautiful family, whatever. And my wife can be amazing, or my girlfriend can be amazing, whoever she is, whatever. But if I'm being deep down honest with myself, does that mean I'll never want to ever be with anyone else for the rest of my life?
No. Define be with anyone, like sleeps with people?
Sexually.
Okay.
Sexually. Doesn't mean I want to have multiple relationships. Doesn't mean I want to have multiple partners, different girlfriends. No, I just mean like, will I never be interested in having any sexual relations with anyone else for the rest of my life? Yeah. And my answer is absolutely not. Like there would, she's like, well, it's just because you haven't met the right person. I'm like, Mom, shut up. Stop it. It's not about the right person. Like having an interest or urge or desire to have another sexual experience at some point in your life, within your marriage or within your relationship, is not an unnatural feeling. In fact, it's so natural that we all have the feeling. She's like, yeah, but we don't act on them. I'm like, yeah, we don't act on them because of the person. We don't act on them because of what the person's going to feel like, or because what we deem as cheating. But if we communicate these certain situations, and we communicate our urges about these certain situations, it's no longer going to be deemed cheating. The term cheating comes because it associated with being disloyal, being dishonest, sneaking around, agreeing to something with a partner and not following through with that. That's why you call it cheating. But if you have this conversation with your partner and you communicate how you feel and the potential, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but the potential that, you know what, like there may be a time that like, I just want to be with someone else, not leave you at all. Just there may be a time where I feel like being with another person. It'll be a one night or whatever. I won't pursue anything with them. It's just, I just know I might have an urge one day in a couple of years, or I don't know when, but I'm telling you, there's going to be an urge, and I don't want to feel like I'm cheating on you. I don't want to feel like I have to hide that from you. And I just want you to know that it could happen. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it's gonna for sure, but if it does happen, I want to feel like I'm comfortable enough to come to you and be like, yo, this happened. This does not mean I'm leaving you. It does not mean your shit. It does not mean our sex isn't good. Doesn't mean, it has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. And the reason why these situations get difficult is because the first thing people think is, am I not good enough? Why does he want somebody else? Isn't our sex great? Is he going to leave me? All these different personal things that come from it, which are not relevant. Because if you communicate this and you make sure it's very clear to the person, like, this is not a you thing. Me wanting to have sex with someone else potentially in the future does not mean now I don't like your sex. Does not mean now I want to leave you for this person. No, it's completely independent of you. And once we can take our ego out of it and our personal attachment to what sex means for me versus my partner, because you can meet someone who to them, they're like, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't be with anybody else if I'm in a relationship. And you're like, you know what? That's your truth. Live that. But if that's not your partner's truth, you cannot enforce your truth on them if that's not theirs. And you can't view them differently because they don't have the same truth as you. But if you're okay with that and you get to a point where you're okay with that, that's a conversation you have to have and determine with your partner. Yeah. And if that's not something you're okay with, then don't be with a partner that's like that. Yeah. But we're not being honest with each other. So it went through the whole conversation. Go ahead.
So then what did your mom say?
She's like, I get it. She's like, you're still fucked up, but I get it. She's like, I raised a monster. I'm like, all right, hey, but I'm honest. I'm like, you raised an honest monster if that's the case. Yeah. And I'm like, and the thing is, I'm going to have this conversation with people because at the end of the day, a woman could be like, I'm not on board with that. And I'd be like, cool. Hey, no problem. Like, but I don't want to, there's no point in having this conversation later in life after you start liking them and then trying to throw it on the table now. That's silly.
Yeah, trying to throw it out there that, hey, like I'm actually into this. And are you cool with that?
What?
When we've already established something. Yeah, I feel you.
So I'm willing to take the chance of throwing this conversation out the first time.
I feel you because like what it is you're talking about isn't I wouldn't say not normal for most people. It's just uncommon. So,
and uncomfortable.
So when you bring it up, people automatically think, once again, they make it personal. So they're like, oh, this is how he is. That must mean he does this, or he's like that. It's like, no, this is just what I'm into. And if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Right.
You just make that known in the moment.
Right.
But what typically happens is, we've talked about it from our perspective. We might have, like people make compromises because they fear losing said person.
Yes.
Right. And that's in relation to anything, not just what we're talking about now. So, it's no different than saying to someone, fuck, like I actually really fuck with this person.
Yes.
And I think that I have to kind of conform or date them in a particular way
in order to get them
or I'll lose them.
Yes.
For good. Right. So yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting convo you have with your mom.
Yeah. So yeah, and honestly, it really ended with her being like, "I understand it, but you're still fucked up." Like, and I think she gets me, and I think she also said, she's like, "You're lucky you're attractive because ugly niggas couldn't say this shit."
Yeah, it's true.
I was like, she's like, ugly guys don't get the opportunity to make these type of requests.
Yeah.
She's like, you're lucky you have potential for options, and yeah. I am aware of that. You know what I mean? Because put it this way, let's just say I had no options out there. Maybe only a few people I could ever meet, in my life.
Yeah.
You couldn't be that specific. Even if you wanted to, it's like the numbers are against you. You know what I'm saying? Like I at least have the benefit that okay, I don't have a tough time meeting women. So, I'm okay with the girls writing me off for that perspective. Cause, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that I'm like, okay, if it's not them, I might meet someone else. Like versus if you're not that attractive person or you're not an outgoing person, you making, a personal request like that or a personal perspective like that and writing off the few girls that are even talking to you, that might be a little more difficult.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
So,
yeah, it's interesting, and I've got to where I'm like, these conversations are absolutely necessary. Whether people view it that way or however you view it, but it's very necessary to make it clear how you view relationships or things you're looking for in a relationship from the very first conversation.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's kind of a nice segue though.
Yeah.
Because the question you asked this week was, have you ever developed feelings for a close friend? If so, what was your next move? Right. So we got a lot of comments on this one.
You want to go through ours first, or you want?
No. We'll read theirs and we'll go through ours after. Nicole, she said, "Yep." It turned into a 1.5 year situationship, right? Which I don't know if they're still friends after, but that seems a little dicey. Christina, she said, "My opinion from personal experience is that the best relationships are built from a strong friendship base." Which is interesting. Like, a lot of the relationships that you've had, did they start off as friendships first?
No.
Okay, all of my relationships did not start off as a friendship.
Right.
So it's hard. It's made it,
and that's why when I break up, we're no longer friends
exactly
either.
like it's
Because
impossible.
we were never friends before.
Yeah, I wasn't friends.
What are
with
we
you.
going to now? What are we diluting this to? We're gonna pretend like we were besties before we did this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
We started because we wanted to fuck each other.
Yeah.
Then we fucked each other, and then we fell in love or we fell in like with each other, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we started dating. If we break up, we can't just transition to friends because you were never my friend. You were never my friend. You were my girlfriend.
Yeah, I think there's only one partner where I could see myself being friends with them after, but that will be based on time. Right. It's not going to be a situation where it's like, oh, we broke up, now I'm friends with you.
Yeah,
Nah, that's weird. Vintage Amore. They said, once, in capitals, calmly shot my shot, took my L like the champ that I am, and never did that shit again. Still my boy to this day, though. We can still laugh about it.
That was a rejection.
Yeah, that was a rejection. Sydney, she said, never. They're the ones that started feeling me and then cut me off. I found this interesting because there's another friend in here that said something similar to this.
Right. And
it's funny because she's saying this from a woman's perspective. Like, guys hit her up and then they cut her off, right? I think it's because I think a lot of us have too much pride in that situation. Like, if I know that I'm going to go out of my way to tell you as a guy, hey, I like you, and I quickly find out those feelings aren't reciprocated, I can't see you again. Like,
how do you pretend?
How do we pretend? How do we pretend this happened?
Like it didn't happen.
How do we pretend this never happened? You crazy? You know how weird that is? Do you actually know do you know how comfortable that is?
I couldn't understand.
To tell someone that you are friends, not a girl that you've been talking to.
No, like someone that's
you see every now and
been
then.
your friend.
It's been your
all
friend.
your friends know you guys are just friends.
And you say to her, hey, like,
let's take this somewhere.
Yeah,
you ever thought about it?
You want to go on a date sometime?
And she goes, what?
She's like, what? What do you mean?
And you go, what do you mean? What do I mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? You know what I'm asking you?
Do you want to go on a date
with you? If the two responses you get is what do you mean and with you?
No. It's
quit while you're ahead.
3. There's another third one.
What?
Before they even say anything, if they're like, they go, what? Like, one of those. For real, like, oh man, that's terrible. That's honestly terrible. Couldn't do it. Cuban mother, she said, I have, and it usually takes time for me to know if the feelings are strong enough for me to do or say something. Brackets, they were. So I made my move, told them how I felt, tried to make something happen, and got turned down miserably.
Man. Yo, I love the honesty, ladies. I do.
My friend, I'm gonna read something that my friend sent after.
Yeah.
Janae, she said, went in for the kiss, had a fling, and then met a next man and fucked it all up. Huge regret.
She went for a next man?
Yeah, so I guess she went in for a kiss on her
with
friend.
With a friend.
They had a fling.
So it did work.
And then she met a next man.
And then that Didn't work.
No. I don't know if that didn't work. It says, and then met a next man and fucked it all up. Huge regret. So I think
fucked up the friendship then.
Exactly, because she was.
So you crossed the friendship line, and then you went to a next man after you already crossed the friendship line, and the friends now are like,
yeah,
what?
Exactly.
Like, why did you even do that to me? Like,
I mean, I get that. Guys. Kiki, she said, yep, he was my best friend's man first, and we became close, and then they broke up, and we became even closer. He became my stay up all night phone call for the better part of 2 years. We slept together. I moved to Scarborough. We lost touch. Heard he had a kid. I was like, yo, there's a lot going on here.
Shit.
So let's break this down. He was my best friend's man first.
Okay.
And
her best friend is a girl, and it was her man.
Yes. And then we became close. And then when her best friend and this guy broke up, we became even closer. I'd be curious to know what the relationship now is with her best friend.
Yeah.
Right? He became my stay up all night phone call for the better part of 2 years. We slept together. I moved to Scarborough. We lost touch. And then she heard he had a kid.
See, I'm not talking to my best friend's girl ever. So like, that's where the mess even starts.
Yeah. I think like
my best friend's ex-girl.
You know what it is though? You know what it is?
What?
Like, the best friend is automatically off limits.
What?
Right? It's automatically off limits. But I think I have such low respect for people that do that kind of shit.
Honestly, and no disrespect to whoever that was, but just not for me.
No, but the reason I say this because, okay, so, you know, like, I know this person is not my best friend by any means, but they're my friend. Like, we work together. Like, I done shit for the company. Like, I know them very, very well. Right. And it was made known to me recently that they were flirting with my ex. Right. And to me,
you said they're not your best friend, but you know them. You know them very well.
They're not my best friend, but I know them very, very well. Right. So the reason
sorry, flirting with your ex while you're with, or flirting post relationship?
Post relationship.
Got it.
Right. What makes it crazier is they were one of the first. When I found out, like when it was decided that me and my ex were no longer going to be together, I had gone back to the gym to go teach a class, and this person was there. They came to take my class, and then they found out what happened afterwards when I told them.
And they went, "Oh, now's my chance."
Right. So for me, like, it's not a situation for me where I'm like hung up on it whatsoever. But the reason I have like such a low respect for people like this is because for me, the immediate question is it worth it? You know what I mean? Like, is it actually worth it?
And you're not serious.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the other thing.
That's the other thing.
I know you're not serious.
It's never not worth it. Like, come on. It's never worth it.
You're not. I know you're just doing it because it's a challenge or like, you don't want my ex.
Yeah.
Like, really. Like, you
really don't.
I don't know what type of fetish this is for some people to just get their man's ex-girl, like, or get their girl's ex-man.
It's
like,
weird, man.
But I don't know what the percentages are, but I don't think the percentages of people dating their best friend's friends actually last.
I know they don't.
I don't. So like, what was the point? Now you know that they shattered your friendship, and you don't have the man or girl anymore.
And on top of that, your fucking social value goes down because people will look at you and be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why did you do this? Was it necessary?"
Oh my God,
it's never worth it. So I wanted to read this response I got from my friend. Right, she's basically like a big sister to me.
Yeah,
and she said. She's like, Lord, unfortunately, the friendships fizzled, which was really shitty. And I said they always fizzle out, right? If you do this or change dramatically. She said, yep, it sucks. Also, in the same vein where two people can't have a platonic relationship without one of their partners getting jealous, right? She's like, it's in that same realm. So causing it to fizzle out and change. To the original question, though, the person who develops feelings tends to disassociate because it's the better option, only to leave both parties as losers in it, which is very interesting because I think as you get older, unless you know for sure that this feeling that you're having for like in our case a female friend is a sure thing. Like if I tell this girl who's my friend I really like her, I want to take this to a different level, unless I know for sure that she's absolutely feeling the same way, I can confidently say I would never say anything.
I agree.
I would.
You're not going on a whim.
No, I would. And that's what she's saying though. The sad part is because I don't think you and I would disassociate to the point where we just stop being friends with them. But I think we would.
You're saying if they did it to us?
No. Like,
or if it didn't work out.
Yeah, because what she's saying is, most people will recognize, oh, I have feelings for my friend, but I don't want to fuck up the friendship. So I'm
just shut it down.
So I'm just gonna like slowly back away, and then when you do that, everyone loses because now I'm no longer friends.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that's what we would do, but I do think that we'd recognize, oh, okay, I like this girl who's my friend. I'm definitely not gonna say anything. And maybe for a short period of time, like the way you interact is going to be a little bit different.
You'll monitor yourself a little bit,
yeah,
for sure. And I think, did you want to read another one? I could actually give you an example. So I've actually, you okay?
Yeah.
I've actually only had this happen to me one time.
Yeah,
and I may have discussed this like in our podcast years ago. Like, did I ever tell you about the story about the girl that was one of my best friends and she passed?
Yeah.
Oh. So that was the only time it ever happened.
Okay.
And it still kind of, it sat weird with me, and it still has to this day, because we basically, like, long story short, I knew her since like grade 9, right? And we were like, we've always been close, never crossed that line. I'll talk about my girlfriend, she would talk about her boyfriends, she'd be like, laugh, whatever. We never crossed that line, never went on no dates. We would just talk and message each other. Yeah. It was just a good friendship, right? If she's low, she comes to me. If I'm low, I come to her. Like, it was literally a friendship. And then one day, she had a flood in her apartment. Yeah, I remember this. You remember the story, right? Yeah. So one day she had the flood in her apartment. She was doing dishes, and her dishwasher just started to malfunction, and she had a flood in her apartment. And me, as the best friend, she hits me up. She's like, "Hey, like, my apartment's flooding like crazy. Like, I need help. Like, can you just come by?" It was like 1:00 in the morning. But because he never had anything like that, like, I know it's not a booty call. It's just like she genuinely needs help. Like, yeah, I'm pull up, of course. Like, I got you. So I pull up. She's sitting on the floor, like, almost crying, because she's like, her place is like getting damaged. She's like, my landlord's gonna kill me, blah blah. I'm like, don't worry, don't stress, just chill out. So I'm helping her. We're getting towels and sheets and paper towel, kind of soak up all the water, whatever. I helped her for about an hour and a bit, and then we kind of got most of the water done. And then we're just sitting on the couch, and she's just like, oh my god, like, everything's going wrong, everything's spiraling. So she's having like a little moment, right? So as a friend I am, I'm like, don't worry, like, you're good, bro. Like, I got you. Like, whatever it is, like, if you need money to help pay for it, I'll help you out. Like, we'll get through this. Like, don't stress. And she just lays on me, right? And that was the first time you've ever like had contact. Like, physical contact. Ever. Yeah, ever. We've known it for years. We've never like.
You've known it for years,
bro. Yeah. Like at this point, this was like what, maybe 5-6 years ago. Yeah. So I'd be 24. And I've known this since 10 years of friendship.
Long time.
Right? And this is the first, she's laying on my lap, and I'm like, and the thing is, I've had girls lay on me, but never her. So like, to me, I don't know why it just felt different to me, because I'm like, you've never touched.
Dog,
like,
I know this exact feeling.
I'm like, this is different. Yeah. So she's laying here. I just kind of like put my hand there. I'm like, yeah, no, it's all good. Like, and she starts crying. I'm just like, shit, like, okay, like, I'm consoling or whatever. And then she like gets up and looks at me, and I'm like, you okay? She's like, yeah. She's like, I was just thinking, like, you're always here for me. And I'm like, yeah, of course, I got you, And she's like, no, but like out of every guy I've ever met, like even my dad, like whoever, like no matter what it's been, like I've always been able to call you, and you're so reliable. And I'm like, That's what friends are for. Like, I gave her the whole line. Like, that's what friends are for. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm playing super oblivious, and I'm not even playing stupid. I'm generally like,
you don't know.
I'm like, of course. What do you mean? Like, of course. And she's like, how come we never like tried this? I'm like, what? Like, she's like me and you. We never like. You're always here for me. I'm always here for you. Like, we're comfortable with each other. We tell each other everything. We're close. And I'm like, yeah. And this is the first time I ever like even thought of it even being a thing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're right. She's like, how come we never like done this? I'm like, because we're friends. We just don't. I don't know. And she's like, would you ever be interested? And I'm like, can I get back to you? Like, I was genuinely like, I'm like, can we park this?
Yeah.
For real? And she's like, okay, yeah, no worries. Like, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, all right, cool. So then she heads to bed. She's like, I'm gonna go to bed now. Like, you can stay if you want. You can head back. It's up to you. And I'm like, stay. I'm like, whoa. Like,
aggressive.
I'm like, I mean, I should. Everything's cool here, right? I can leave you. She's like, if I'm being honest, like, I don't want you to stay. Like, I'm just not in the mood right now. I feel like I don't want to be by myself right now. And I'm like, oh man, okay. And I'm like, I still haven't processed the question you just asked me.
Yeah.
So now you want me to stay? I'm like, okay. So I stay. I'm in bed, and I'm literally in bed like stiff. Like,
yeah.
Like,
you don't want to touch
some more. I'm laying in bed like, all right, like, just like looking at the ceiling, arms at my side, like super awkward. I'm like, this is fucking weird, man. Like, I've never. And the thing is, I would never do that with a girl I'm into. Like, I would, whatever.
But the thing is, and look, maybe when you finish the story, it's not that you might not have been into her.
Right.
It's the fact that for years, this is a woman that's been in a particular like category in your mind.
Right.
Like, you actually probably held her to a higher regard than most women in your life.
Probably.
But it's because now there's this new boundary. Right. When you talked about the physical touch thing, like, I really got that. I'll go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
So laying there, my arms at my side, looking up, whatever, and she turns. When girls do that half cuddle.
Yeah.
With the head on their chest and the leg across the body. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So she half cuddles me, and I'm like, fuck. So now I'm like, for the first time, like, getting feelings, right? Where I'm like, fuck, like, she's on me.
Oh.
She's not an ugly girl at all. But I'm like, she's in a t-shirt with no bra, like, in like little shorts, like, we're like, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling her body on me. She's on me now for the first time ever. And I'm laying there like, fuck. So I put my arm around her and just kind of like hold her, right? And I'm looking at the ceiling, and she's just laying there. We're not even talking. And I just say to myself, I'm like, I said to her, I'm like, we can never go back, right? And she's like, what? I'm like, like, we can never go back. Like, if we do anything, right? And she's like, no, I know. We don't have to. I'm just, I just thought about it. I'm like, no, like, let's listen, like, if we're going to do this, I can do it, but just know that, like, there's no way for us to ever go back. So if you like whatever we have right now, and it really means something to you, that is all gone forever. And she's like, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, yeah. And we just sat there in silence for a little bit. And she looks at me, I look at her, and she kisses me. And I kiss her back, right? And we kiss for like maybe like a minute. And then we stop, and we look at each other, and we're like, whoa. And I was like, I'm like, this is it. Like, we can't undo this. And she's like, I know. So we fall asleep. That was what we just kissed that night. Fall asleep. Next day I go home, and I'm just like tripping because I'm like, fuck, like, that friendship's done. Like, there's no pretending like that just didn't, like, that friendship is a wrap.
You think so? Like, just because you guys kissed though?
So,
or was it because it was like very intimate?
It was a very intimate kiss, but also I was like, I now know she likes me. Like now I know. It's not the cat's out the bag. There's no pretending. There's no like, I'm not sure if she does. Like, I'm like, I know she likes me now. And now I don't know if I like her like that. I know I'm attracted to her, but I don't know if I like her the same way she does. And all I know is that if it doesn't match up, now feelings are gonna get hurt, right?
Yeah.
And that was what I was worrying about. So I didn't talk to her for like a week, right? Not to be mean, but I just kind of like, I just need to process this, right? And after the week, she hits me up. She's like, do you want to come by? And I'm like, sure. Like, I'm like, we already crossed this line. So I'm like, okay. I come back. We talk for a little bit. This time we skip to the kissing very quick now because we've done this already. So now we're kissing. We end up sleeping together. Before we're about to sleep together, I stop her again. I'm like, yo, if we do this, we can't, like, the kiss, we can kind of maybe pull back a little bit and try to salvage something. But if we do this, this is it. Like, this, there's no turning back. And she's like, I know, I'm okay with her. You? And I'm like, okay. Like, she's already naked. I'm like, fuck, all right. We do it. It was great, whatever. And then after I finished, like, I didn't say it to her, but I'm like, I don't want this. Like, it might sound harsh, but like, I was like, I don't, like, not that I don't want her. I'm like, I don't want to pursue anything with her like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, like, maybe I could have really thought about that before doing that. Maybe I can blame myself for that. Maybe I could have really thought, like, do you ever want to pursue anything? Like, I didn't go through all that. It was just,
I mean, like, if we're being fair to yourself, and both of you, to be honest, you're younger. You didn't know how to process a lot of these things. Yeah. So
end up sleeping with her, and now she's attached. She's messaging me all the time, and I was honestly like, I started responding like, listen, like, I don't know, like, I think we should just take our time with it. She's like, so you're not interested? And I'm like, no, like she put me in this spot where she's, you know how the energy comes, like, so we did this thing, like, you're not interested? I'm like, no, I am, but like, now I'm like, I am, but like, I'm just kind of like, this is all new. She's like, wow, so like, we just did this for nothing. And I'm like, no, like, now I'm in this like weird spot where she stopped talking to me, right? She's mad at me because like now she feels like I used her. And I'm like, what? I didn't use, like, no, like, but it's hard to kind of like, she's like, why did you even do it? And I'm like, because you wanted to do it, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I started to feel really bad, and she started to make it seem like it was really me that did this. Unfortunately, we kind of ended on like a weird thing because like our friendship kind of was shattered, fizzled, and then she ends up passing shortly after in a car accident. And it sticks with me because I'm like, fuck, like I don't know, like, we didn't have to ruin that, you know what I mean? Like, which
it's tough because look, when you say it in hindsight, like, we didn't have to ruin it, that only comes with experience of understanding the situation. And like I said, at the time, both of you were younger. Were you the same age? Yeah, both of you were younger, and it's hard to process feelings like this for a friend, bro. Because you talked about the physical touch thing, and you know, I've always had a lot of female friends. Like, most of my friends are actually women, and then I have like a core group of guy friends that they're my best friends. And I remember, I'm trying to say this without like implicating people, but basically a girl that I used to be really, really tight with as friends, and the friendship was based off of us, like, me not being one of those guys that were constantly like hounding her, because I was in a relationship at the time. And then when I wasn't in a relationship, like, whatever, it was still the same thing. And
she's kind of like, why isn't he coming for me?
I think maybe there was an element of that when it started, but we ended up becoming great friends. And it was one of those things where, you know, if we all went out as a group to like clubs or whatever, or bars, and let's say it was packed, she would grab my hand like to get through the crowd. And I remember the first time it happened, I was like, this is weird. You know what I mean? Like, I know why she's doing it, but like just kind of use you as the boyfriend. Like, to deflect guys. And it was this weird, it put me in like this weird position because I was like, first of all, at the time, I was like, I know I don't have feelings for her, but I was just like, is she making me like her brother figure in her life right now? Like, I'm
like
such
big
a good,
bro, like big broing you.
We're the same age. I was like, are we such
But she
good?
can still big
Yeah,
bro
are we
you.
such
Like,
good friends that like you're treating me like your brother, like outwardly treating me like your brother, or like are you just that comfortable with me? You get what I'm saying? Like it's
it's
was
mixed.
it was a really weird line, and then I remember it just got to a point where I genuinely thought I had feelings for her. Like I really did. I really
Based on what?
because our friendship over time just got like
Tighter.
way tighter.
Yeah.
Like her parents loved me, like in comparison to like anyone else. Like, it was weird. It was like some sitcom shit. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I actually thought that I had like really deep feelings for this girl. And then I was able to distinguish that it was just straight up infatuation. You know what I mean? Like I knew she was objectively a very pretty woman. She was very comfortable around me because I guess I allowed her to be. I didn't put her in any positions to feel uncomfortable. And I think it was also a combination of other men's like telling me like, yo, are you guys dating or like, should you be dating? So all that got
Like
to
the optics, it looked like it already. So
the
you're
optics
like, oh.
looked that way, but in reality, it was never that way. And, you know, it's good that it didn't end up that way because it just could have made things super dicey. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's really tough to fucking come back from a situation like that.
And I think we talked about it before, like years ago. Like we obviously have new listeners now, but like we can address this since we're talking about it. Like the ongoing debate of whether or not men and women can be friends. Like, and my perspective still hasn't changed in the sense where I feel like if you are aware, or the minute you become aware that you're attracted to said person, you are no longer friends. And I don't think
That's interesting.
And I don't think it's to say that the person's not attractive.
Yeah.
It's once you become aware that I am attracted to this person, then you are no longer their friend. So I think there's a lot of women that have, oh, that's my guy friend, blah, 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 because they are not attracted to those men. But it does not mean those men are their friends from the men's perspective. Yeah. You have this man like, oh, are you attracted to her? Like, there's a big difference between saying, yo, that's an attractive girl versus, yeah, I'm attracted to her. Those are two different things. Because I can objectively look at a woman and be like, yeah, she's attractive, but I have no urges, no hormonal response to it. I can just look at it and be like, yeah, she's cool. You know what I mean? This
is super interesting because you know, I had this conversation with my ex about this. I was like, listen, she was like, I'm friends with a lot of my exes, right? Granted, I think maybe her exes are, one of them is a girl and one of them is a guy. The girl one is like not hard for me to like accept. The guy one is only because from the relationships I've been in, anyone I've dated, like you said, we weren't friends in the beginning.
Not your friend, right?
You know, I didn't start off as your friend. It started off in this other place. It was hard for me to look at you that way. Aside from that, like, yes, I do have some platonic relationships with women, and that boils down to what you just said. Like, there's no attraction there. If I'm being honest, like, there's definitely been a time where a friend and I have made out, and it hasn't been weird after. And it's been the unicorn
drunk
situation.
Nights?
Huh?
A drunk night or consciously aware of making out?
A mix of both.
Two separate times?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it, like, I think I couldn't tell you why it didn't affect things.
But only made out, no sex?
No sex.
Okay.
No sex. Made out. But I don't know why it didn't affect things. I'm glad it didn't. In my head, it was one of those situations where it was like, oh, okay, we just did it. Like, whatever.
Why did you do it? Do you know? Like, was it just you guys were alone and then kind of like, hey, whatever? Or...
You know what Did some of it?
Like, why didn't it lead to sex, for example?
I think just where we were.
So location stopped it.
Maybe. Like, I don't know if the location changed, anything else would have happened. I'm just saying that, like, when it happened, because it happened more than once, when it happened,
Right.
it was just like, oh, that was fun. That was it.
Never spoken about again? Never to be discussed? To be
No, like it hasn't been brought back up.
No, but I mean, like when it happened, like, it wasn't kind of like the next day, like, huh, that was interesting that we did that. You didn't even talk about it?
No.
Just kind of play like, well, interesting.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the one unicorn situation. Right? I haven't
Are
been.
you still friends?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I haven't been in other situations though where that's happened to compare it to, but I just know that it's not normal. Like that situation is not normal.
Yeah.
In most cases, you would fucking.
But then, are you attracted to her currently?
No, I'm not attracted to her currently. I think she is an attractive person. What are you asking? Like, do I have feelings for her?
Not feelings, just
No.
Are you attracted to her? If you look at her, you like, I'm attracted, like, shit, I'm attracted to this girl. Like, versus.
That's actually, hold on. Like, that's actually really hard for me to answer because the thing is, I can look at my friends, or in this particular case, I can look at this person who I think is attractive, but
Yeah.
I can actually. It's weird. It feels like I can turn off a switch where it's just like, I know
that's dangerous.
I know, no, but what I'm saying, I know it sounds,
I know what you mean,
but what I'm saying is I know they're attractive, but it's not like every time I look at them, I'm like, oh, I'm attracted to you. Like I have this urge for something else, or no, like objectively, I know you're attractive.
Right.
But I keep it moving. Like it's not like.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean?
Okay, but would you say that would you say that yeah, honest question. Would you say if you were to walk in on her naked, would you leave the room or would you
where is this?
in her house? We're about to go out one night. You pull up early. She's like, "Oh, door's open. Come in." You come in. She just got out of the shower. She's like, "Oh shit, you actually came in. Oh my bad. I'm just getting dressed." And she looks at you and she's naked. Would you like be like, "Oh no, like do your thing," like, or would it be like a moment?
No,
Obviously it's hypothetical.
No.
But
honestly, I'm saying do your thing. Unless she gives me the
okay, she gives you the eyes. She gives you the eyes. She gives you the eyes. Like,
oh my god.
Oh, you're here. Oh shit, like you're here. I'm just gonna be 5 minutes, okay? And you're like, yeah. And she goes, okay. I mean, or we could be 5 minutes. It's like,
would I now?
or would you be like, nah, chill, like, chill, like, would you? Nah, come on, man, chill out.
But this is why
chill.
This is why this situation cheeses me, right? Because
chill.
Because in my head, I'm thinking, look,
Yeah,
I know you're attractive.
right.
Would I hook up with you? Yes, obviously, I would.
It's not obvious though.
No. When I say obviously because I'm attracted.
Okay,
I think
sure.
you're attractive. So,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
like if I think you're attractive, hence I would hook up with you. The problem is, I don't know. I think I know myself well enough to know that if I was in that position,
Right.
a part of me would almost react to how we just did. Like a part of me would kind of like laugh at how crazy the situation is. I mean, like, and my fear is that by saying not right now or like not in this moment, it kills it altogether. Because at the same time, I'm wondering, listen, I'd also be
now you rejected her.
Yeah, because now I'm also asking this, right? Do you just want to hook up? Or do you want...
Or do you actually like me?
Do you want something more than this?
Right.
Because I'm not doing anything till I know.
Right.
And I can say that at this age of my life.
Right.
I truly can say that. If this was years ago, what would have happened is...
You just act.
I would have acted.
Right.
And then come to find out, oh, maybe she likes me more.
Yeah.
Or maybe I end up liking her more and the feelings aren't reciprocated, then it causes problems. But
so then you think in this scenario, in this age now, at that moment, she's like, I mean, are we kid? Would you be like, yo, listen, I'm down to do this, but do you want...
Yeah.
So you would actually verbally be like,
I'd verbally say this.
Hey.
I can confidently say in that moment, I would say, look, I'm down, but I need to know.
like, what is this? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah. Okay.
What are we doing?
So is that your friend then?
I still think I can be friends with her. I still think I can be friends with her.
Of course you can.
No, but here's the thing.
Of course.
You know what the difference between me and you is?
What?
The difference is I would allow the friendship to continue. That's what would happen because. But it doesn't mean that I actually don't understand where you're coming from. Like, I really do. There's some people I know that if they tried and I said no, like I'm never being friends with them.
Right.
But I think with particular people, if they tried and I said no, or like we did it and then
you can chalk it up.
I could chalk it up.
Right.
Like it's not like I would just treat it as a situation where I was like, look, it happened, move on.
But that's my thing.
You can't just treat it like that.
Like no, you can. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can. We can. Yes. But my thing is, I'm coming from a perspective of like a true friendship. Whether you're choosing to chalk up feelings or, you know, suppress them or ignore them, whatever, versus like where they're not there. Like, are there more situations? I think there are more situations like that where people are like, listen, I can control this. We don't have to do anything. I can still look at you as my friend. I can still move. We can still move the same way and never. You know, you can have a relationship, I can have a relationship, but we never cross that thing. Whether the feelings are there in the air somewhere, just never tapped into or not, you can live like that, and no one will ever know except you two guys deep down. Yeah. But my thing is like, are there more situations like that where people are just kind of like, just don't cross that line. You don't cross the line, I don't cross the line. Versus like a real life, you walk in, she's like, no, we could do 5 minutes. You're like, no. No, go inside. Like, hey, get dressed, please. Can you put some clothes on? Come on now. You know better. Come on now. Like, are there more situations the other way where you're like, hey, I would do this, but like, what we really doing? I don't want to ruin this.
But I think it's an age thing. It depends on where you're at in life. I think that second scenario you just brought up, I think that probably happens more the older you get. Right, but if you're like you said, if I'm younger, I'm acting before I think about the situation. But it's like it goes back to what I said earlier. Is it worth it? Right, when I talked about, you know, my boy flirting with my ex, like, is it worth it? So in this situation, that's my first question that I'm thinking. And the only reason I can think of these things is because we're having conversations like this. Like, if that opportunity presented itself to me, right, let's say fucking months from now, you better believe I'm going to go back in the Rolodex of my mind and remember this conversation and be like, oh, like,
gotta ask a question.
We got to reference this because I'm not trying to fucking... There's nothing worse. There's honestly nothing worse than a friendship ending over some bullshit, like something that could have easily just been 100%. Dealt with, you know. 100%. And the reason a situation like this wouldn't work afterwards is because people's egos get involved. It's just a matter of saying, look, it happened. I know it was awkward, right? But there's no reason we can't still be friends.
So 100%. But okay, so yes, and my thing is like, okay. That goes back to the question, like, are men and women actually really friends out here, or are we all doing this, you know,
playing a charade?
This charade where we're like, we're friends as long as we don't cross this line, kind of thing. And then it goes to the question where it's like, okay, cool. If in most cases, which I believe most cases are like this, where people are, that's my girl, that's my friend, like, no, nothing, no, that's just a guy, just like, that's my big bro, blah blah. But I think most cases are like this, and because of that, I'm like, okay, cool. So now that we're aware that not all, but most cases are like this, especially if the people are attracted to each other. When your boyfriend or your girlfriend has friends, so for you a girlfriend. So if your girlfriend has guy friends, and we both know, we're very aware that these are most likely situations of their guy friends, if we're being honest. Oh, that's my girlfriend's friend, guy friend. You're like, okay, you meet him. Hey, I'm Ramon. Okay. Like,
Ramon.
Like, you're like, all right, yeah, it was good. He's like, yeah, no, I know your girl for like some time now. She's cool, bro. She's cool. You're her man? Yeah, I'm her man. All right, cool. Nice to meet you, bro. You hail him up. And you look at each other like, all right.
What did I talk about episodes ago? I said when the guy meets the guy friend, there's an essence of an alpha coming into the territory.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is then, yeah, now that we know that, is the onus on us to just understand that exists and just kind of be like, as long as nothing actually happens, then whatever, versus actually being like, do you actually believe that's really their guy friend? Or are we getting to a point where you just accept that this existence is very possible? He probably would fuck my girl if she has a chance, but as long as she doesn't do that, hey, like, what can I really, like, can I stop her from talking to him? No. Like, if she believes that that's her friend, what am I gonna, even if he would fuck her right now, if she believes that's her guy friend and she carries herself accordingly, should it matter that guy would fuck her? Should that even matter? As long as she's doing her part and never letting that line cross. And you know, deep down, you're like, I know this guy would fuck my girl, but she's acting like nothing would ever happen, and nothing ever does happen because of so, right? Yeah. Should we still be uncomfortable and have the conversation with a girl like, nah, like that guy's not your friend, bro? And she's like, nah, he is. What are you talking about?
This is what
you're like, stop fucking being so naive.
Like, hey, so this is what it is. I don't think we should be living in this constant state of being uncomfortable about it, even though we know what these, like, how guys think and how women think. Right. The thing is, I tend to think, and I could actually be wrong, I feel like a woman would say the exact same thing I'm saying. In reverse? In reverse. Right. The issue I have isn't that guys want to sleep with my girl or the guy friends, right? Like, I just always think that if a lot of these guys had the chance, they probably would, or they thought about it, or they may have had something to pass. Like, I thought about it and I was like, it is what it is. The problem I have is sometimes my partners, the girls, being naive to this idea that
it's even possible.
As one, that it's even possible, or that their guy friends have ever thought about this, right? And I'm like, the only reason your guy friends have thought about this is for two reasons. One is because you're very attractive, and two, because you're super cool with them. You know what I mean? Like, those are two deadly combinations. If a girl's very good looking and she's cool, you've already done like 95% of the work for the guy to even like you. Yep. So if he likes you, what do you think he's also thinking about? He's not thinking about, oh my God, I want to take her to the fucking High Park. No, he wants to think about like what he would do with you. So, and once again, I'm sure that women probably feel the same way in reverse
about women friends,
right? I'm not naive to think that they don't think this. I just think that in typical conversations about this, it's almost like the conversations I've had, women tend to be more naive about this concept than guys are. Because I have a lot of female friends. I'm not saying that a lot of them want to sleep with me or any of this shit. I don't think that they do. But if you told me down the road that one of them had a crush on me at some point or whatever,
you'd be like,
I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, oh, okay. Wouldn't be surprised because I know how we think.
We just tend to ignore the signs. Or sorry, not ignore them. Just basically, we just prohibit the signs.
Pretty much.
It's not that we're ignoring it. We, like, a girl might make a quick joke. Oh, you look good today. You're like, yeah, cool. Like, we just brush it. Because we know this is signs, even from friends. Girls like, oh, you look good today. You're like, thank you.
You know the signs. Yeah, like you know.
But we also know, like, chill out. Like, and I know you never do. I know you never actually cross the line. So you just take it as a ha. We move on. That's kind of how we do it. I think, to your point, I think same with the naiveness, and I think for me, the most frustrating conversation I've had with women in regards to guy friends is when they try and tell me that they know how those guys think. No, those conversations are the most frustrating when they're like, no, like I know Jermaine, like he would never. No, you don't. Like, stop it. Like, no, but they really try to convince you this conversation. No, I've known Jermaine for 15 years. Like, he would never. Stop it.
I don't know.
Just because he had, like, stop it. Don't tell me how confident you are.
You don't know how you don't know how they think just as much as I don't know how much these women think.
Right.
But because I'm a man, I think I have a better understanding of how he thinks,
Right.
and you have a better understanding of how this fast woman thinks
Right,
over here.
right,
Like,
right.
it's the same thing.
I just don't want to hear. Oh no, he would never. Don't
Stop
tell
it.
me that.
Don't say that. You don't know
Because
that.
what he said so. Because he said, "Nah, I would never." Like, because I know he hasn't said that either.
I know.
I just
I
know,
know that's
like,
bullshit.
I know the way
Yeah.
he looks at me, like he would just.
Right, I know that's bullshit because at some point in his life, he's been in a group chat where mans have been messaging him, being like, "Oh, so what's going on with you?" And so, nah, she's just my friend. And then when all these guys are talking about how pretty she is and all this type of stuff, you think he's saying, "You guys, you need to stop this. You need to stop this."
Come on.
You think he's saying that? He's probably saying nothing because he doesn't want to like
Nothing.
He says nothing in the conversation. He doesn't want to interject. He doesn't want to put himself in a weird position. He just like, you know what? I'm gonna let these niggas talk. Shut the fuck up.
That's it.
You know it because you've been there.
Yes.
We've all been there, Ryan. Fuck.
Of course. Oh man.
Foolishness, man. Anyway,
Shit.
I wanted to bring up that fucking video.
Which one? Oh fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god, I forgot about that already.
Listen,
Oh,
I would put the whole thing in this video for you guys to watch. Long story short, there's this guy named Kevin Samuels. Every week, he, like, I believe he's a big time entrepreneur, but he does a bunch of shit. He has people that come onto
It was
the
like
show.
a call-in kind of.
So the way it works is like this, right? It's for business. He gives business advice, but then also like relationship and all this type of stuff, right? The way it works is if you want like private advice from him, like consulting, you pay for it.
Right.
But if you don't, then you call in on the show and then it's live for everyone to see. Because I guess it's the same thing. He's going to give it to you both ways. But do people want to have to take this information publicly? Most people don't.
Right.
So that's why you pay for it. I think that's a fair trade.
Of course.
He's having a conversation with this woman, and you know, this woman is also an entrepreneur like herself. I think she makes 6 figures.
Yeah, she does.
And with a pet grooming business, that's right. And basically, she is trying to say she's holding out, or she feels that she deserves a very particular type of man, right? And the man
who also makes 6 figures.
Yeah, who also makes 6 figures and is doing all these different types of things. And this guy Kevin, and she's also what, 35 or something like that? I don't know.
She's up there. She's not young. Yeah. She might be mid-30s.
Mid-30s or early 40s, and she has a kid, right?
And she has a kid.
And this guy is basically trying to tell her that the video's super raw. He basically tells her to
it's
rate
very
her.
raw. I love it.
Yeah, he tells her to rate herself like out of 10. Don't say 7. He's like, you're not that high. And he also basically
Can we just break that down for 1 second?
I know. He's really said that. That was rough. When he said that,
the man said, all right, let's just be real for a second. Be real for 1 second. Come on. He's like, you're average at best, right? You're average at best. If you're gonna, he's like, I need you to rate yourself from 1 to 10, and you're not allowed to use 7. Imagine someone gives you a parameter like that. Then just tell me rate myself from 1 to 6. Like, why do you even give her the option to say rate yourself from 1 to 10?
Yeah.
But don't use 7.
Man,
like that is wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and then he basically goes on to say that, look, because he classifies this woman as average, right?
At best.
Regardless of whatever the fuck I think about her, this is what he's saying.
Right.
She's on the show just, taking it. And he is going to say that, look, the type of guy that you are asking for is not going after women like you.
They don't date average.
It's not even that they just don't date average. He's like, it's also all the other things that you're bringing to the table, which is you're a single mother as well. Right. And whether or not I would think this way, the reality is what he's saying, I think there's a certain level of truth to it. Mm-hmm. Right. Because I ended up sending you this other dialogue, this podcast after with this guy that I follow, mediocre tutorials and reviews or some shit. He was talking about it with this woman. They watched the whole thing and they were going back and forth. This woman is like very high key feminist, like she puts it out there. And this guy brought up a really good point. He's like, look, the guy that this woman says that she's looking for, you know who that guy is looking for? Someone in their 20s.
Right.
Who just looks pretty. That's it. Right. And he was like, this woman would actually have better success if she went for men that were like 15 years older than her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which makes it, like the market is fucked up. Like, I hate to say it. And this guy's an economist, right? Like he deals with money. And he's like, look, in the dating marketplace, he said word for word, he's like, in the dating marketplace, women are the product. And then this woman got like pissed. He's like, you just reduced all women to a product. And then he was like, man. No. He's like, he's like, at the end of the day, we're all products.
Right.
We're all products. But like, based on the way society works, who is it that's typically going after the other person? It's the guy. Right. Like the guy's always going. They're the ones that have to do the reaching out and get rejected on a regular basis. Yeah. It's the woman that has to end up deciding, I'm going to give this dude a chance. Right. There's choosing going on both sides, but that's the products. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality. You know, almost immediately in today's society, how people are valued. And unfortunately, it's like off aesthetics.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, it's bullshit to say, but that's what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's guys, as much as women will talk about, oh, that guy's very good looking and all this other type of stuff, there's so many other things that a guy has to have in order to be chosen by a woman.
Yeah. Or even considered.
Considered, not chosen. Just
even considered.
Considered.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'm cute. Maybe I'm cute. Maybe I'm good looking. Yeah. Right. But do I have a good job? Like, am I good with my family? Like, am I good with all these other things? Mm-hmm. And not to say that guys don't look at those things with women, but I don't care if this woman makes fucking 40 grand a year.
Right.
That's not gonna make or break it for me. Like, all I care about, does she work hard? But how much money she makes isn't gonna break it for me. Off rip. What I'm saying is, off rip. First time I meet you, all I'm looking at is how you look. Off rip. For women, yeah, they're typically thinking, okay, he looks good, but what else? There's all these other things immediately that they think.
I mean, we do that as well.
We do that. But what I'm saying is, the way that guys are hardwired,
right.
And
it's just the priority is not as
dude. Like the value scale is very different. Like it's how it is. Like, guys have to be. They have to be. We were taught we have to be high in all these areas.
No, I understand.
In order to go after a particular woman, or any woman for that matter. Right. I gotta have all these things checked off.
Women aren't told and conditioned that they have to have all these things for a guy that wants them.
Even if they do.
No, they can have it, but they're not conditioned that you need to have all these things for a man to want you. No, you don't. Like,
they're
doing it on their own, but
you're doing it on their own. But you can't show me a woman that has been told or thinks, I need to be making X amount of money in order for this particular guy to talk to me.
Right.
That sounds like a ridiculous statement that just came out of my mouth.
It's something we think we have to think about, and we have to do it. 100%.
Every man has thought about this at some point. 100%. I need to be making at least this amount of money. I need to have my own place. I need to have a car. I need to have all these things so that I even have like the ticket of entry to like talk to this woman.
Yeah. You get a 30-second time slot. You put the coin in, they're like, all right, go. Like, here's your time.
You know what I mean?
Show them what you got. Yeah. Like, we're performing.
And like, I sometimes I hate these conversations because it comes across so fucking
like women are just gold diggers, blah, blah. No.
Gold diggers, or it comes across like archaic at times.
Right.
I get it. Like, times have changed. Yes. I fully understand it. But
the core is
times
still,
have changed.
Yes.
It's not like women think I need to have these things in order for a man to find me attractive or any of these things. It's crazy. It just boils down, I think, in a lot of cases to, do I look good? Do I look good first and foremost for this fucking archaic looking dude to just look at me and be like, oh, she's attractive, I'm gonna go talk to her.
Yeah.
Now that I've got him, what does he bring to the table? And what do I bring to the table? But he has to have all these things. I think as you get older as a guy, you start looking at women more in that vein.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
100%.
But even then, before you even have all these things that you're looking at a woman for, the very first thing you're thinking about is she good looking or not?
Oh, that's 100%.
And you know what? I think women do look at men the same way, where they're like, is he good looking? Yes. But I think there's almost like a in golfing, they would say there's a handicap.
For the men?
Yes.
In what sense? In
the sense that the guy doesn't have to be, like, women are pressured to feel like they have to be rockets.
Right.
Right? They're pressured to feel this way because of society. Right? I don't think guys are pressured to feel like I have to be the peak version of myself physically. Like,
we are. No, we are.
No, they're not. No, they're not. And I know, and I'll tell you why. Tell you why. Because why is it that there are so many dudes with dad bods who have money that have some of the hottest looking women? Because
they trade their body for money.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like, for women, it's, you need to have this based on society. They're like, you need to look this way. You need to look perfect all the time. For guys, you don't need to look perfect all the time because we have alternatives. Women don't have the alternatives. That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't need
like a rich fat girl is still fat to somebody and they don't care.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, guys know from a young age, look, fuck it. I may not be the best looking dude. I'll still get somebody. But if I get money, I'm gonna get someone.
That's true. Yes, they know that. Guy, it's been proven. It's been proven and shown to them.
Look, the conversation is archaic, but it's true.
I know.
Like,
I know.
I see it all the time. I've seen it from a young age when, you know.
So speaking of classes and level, it's been officially or unofficially released that Rihanna and ASAP are together. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, they've been like a ting or whatever for years, right? Supposedly. Am I surprised? No.
I'm not surprised.
Do I think it makes sense? Yes.
Why?
Because they're both. I think
whose career is larger?
Rihanna for sure.
So why does it make sense?
I think it makes sense based on their personalities. And that's crazy to say because I don't fucking know these people. I know. Fucking know these people. But based on what I see, like in media, how they've interacted publicly, ASAP's also been very low key for a number of years. For sure, it's like he forgot about music and he's just doing fashion.
For sure.
Rihanna's forgot about music.
She's just doing her fashion.
She's just doing fashion and makeup. She's becoming a mogul. Yeah, is what it is. I think
they're both in the same space now.
I think they look good together.
They do.
I think they look really good together. To be honest with you, but. I don't really give a fuck. Like, at the end of the day,
and the thing is it's funny because I always have these conversations with friends. Sometimes I'm like, if these celebrities weren't celebrities, would they be all that? And I
think Rihanna would be all that.
Would she? Like,
you think that if Rihanna was a celebrity and she was a regular thing in Toronto?
Hold on. I'm not calling her a regular thing in Toronto, but what I'm saying is, when you look at when I look at Rihanna, it's hard for people to separate the prestige of Rihanna being Rihanna, who she is. You look at her page, look at her photos she does, you're like, oh my God, Rihanna, she's. But when I examine women a lot. I'm always like, I just do. It's the truth. I examine women a lot.
We didn't know that, right? We didn't know that already.
And I'm always just looking and kind of like really trying to objectively look at certain things. And I've seen a lot of girls that not necessarily look like Rihanna, but have the features, the curly hair, the light skin, the forehead, the green eyes. I've seen that, bro. I've seen that look goddamn everywhere in LA. I've seen that look in Toronto enough. I've seen like, if I can separate myself from Rihanna, like from that mogul, amazing woman she is, and just put her as a look at her photos like any other girl posted an Instagram photo on the gram. And I'm not talking about her done up stuff. Like just when she posts like a selfie, like any other girl posts a selfie. When she does that, I'm like, she's cute, but like
I get what you're saying. Like being
like, I honestly look at her. I'm like if Rihanna was just a girl named Ree from Toronto, I'd be like, this girl's cute. She's
look,
like,
I get what you're saying.
Girl.
Like I get what you're saying in the sense that being a celebrity basically gives you like a +5 in like your rating. I get it. I get it.
By no means am I saying Rihanna's not pretty. She is.
No, I get it.
But I'm absolutely not like, oh. Like,
I think if we're being honest, that applies to like every celebrity.
No, there's some celebrities where you're like, you don't look the same as in like you like. There's some celebrities you're like, you don't look like people. Like, I would say, for me, I would say,
you would say Beyonce.
I feel like Beyonce has that same effect, the same Beyonce factor. Like, it's Beyonce.
That's
like I think,
and that's why I say like I feel.
But there are some really pretty celebrities that are like, you guys are. That's a different echelon.
No,
it's
but I think
it's not because of who you are.
No, I think all celebrities.
You think every girl's like
I think every man and woman who's a celebrity benefits from like the celebrity factor, like giving them a boost.
Yes,
right. Not to say that they're not attractive, but like if I didn't know that,
like Demi Lovato.
She benefits because she's a celebrity.
She's regular to you. Sorry, not regular, but she's...
Dude, I used to fucking love Demi Lovato.
You used to foam, and now you're...
I used to love it. I couldn't tell you why.
Right.
I just did.
But now you look at her, you're like, she's decent.
I know she's cute. She's a celebrity, though.
But she's decent, though, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, if you saw J-Lo walking around Toronto and she wasn't famous.
Let me look at J-Lo. Let me look at J-Lo one current time.
Because I think a lot of people like a lot of the appeal with J-Lo is the fact that she's aged very nicely, right? So it's like, okay, that obviously plays into her appeal too.
I just opened this video where she's doing her makeup.
Okay. Okay, we'll give a male example, man.
Very regular J-Lo.
Yeah, we'll give a male. We'll give him.
I love J-Lo, but
no, we'll give a male example, right? Someone that benefits from being a celebrity.
Yeah.
Fucking George Clooney, for example.
Okay.
So many women love off this older man
because of who he is.
Because of who he is,
right?
But because he's like also aged in a nice way, right? Like men and women benefit from this shit,
right?
I think? Okay, so here's an example, then. Oh man, it might get me in trouble. But like, look, I think in terms of male rappers, without just like sounding like funny, male rapper wise,
okay,
I think Drake had one of the best glow ups. Period.
Oh, 100%.
Best glow ups because like
he looked whack.
You see photos of when he first
looked
came
whack.
Out, he was mad whack.
100.
Now the boy is like
he's chilling,
glowed up crazy,
bearded up, crispy hairline.
Right? But do you
working out now?
And this is the thing though, like the celebrity.
Did he glow up? Did he glow up because of Drake, or no? He actually glowed up.
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both because he was. I think he would have always looked like that if he just decided to work out and do all this type of shit.
Right.
But like that's a byproduct of being a celebrity, where you're like, because I'm a celebrity, people pay attention to me. I have to take care of myself in these ways.
Yes.
So I think it provides a boost, right? And then just by you being a celebrity,
right,
people are going to find you more attractive, whether they think so or not.
So is there anyone that you can think of? I'm having a tough time right now trying to think of a real person right now. Because I haven't had a conversation.
You're like, oh, you're no, like even the women. Look, even the women we said. Like, I still think that people like J-Lo and Rihanna. I'm listing like fucking the tops, right? Beyonce, Rihanna. I think they're all still. I still think they all just look different, right? They act different. I don't know what it is, but the reality is, I'm not oblivious to the fact that because they're celebrities, that plays into it.
Like, okay, for example, I've always been in love with Jada.
Yeah.
Like since I was young.
Yeah.
And even Jada at her age now,
she still looks great.
Like,
she looks really great. Yeah.
But I can generally say if Jada wasn't Jada, I'd still be like, fuck. Like, who is that? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I like, that's what I'm trying to get to, that type of person in your mind. Like, is there someone that, like, if you removed the star factor, would you still be like, wow, this girl's like, I would still be wowed by young Jada and old Jada. Even if Jada was a regular woman that I just came across, I'd be like, who the hell is that?
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd be wowed by Rihanna. I'm being completely honest.
I think I would. Like, I think I would for all those women that we just said. It's just, I recognize right now the celebrity plays into it. Right. But I still think I definitely would still stop and be like, whoa.
Oh, 100. Yeah, I'm not going to, no.
Yeah, but like, not many women get me to stop. Yeah. Right? I'm not saying this from like a cocky standpoint. Yeah. I'm something, but it's like, not many women just make me stop. You know, like, I think, who else in that category? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, we mentioned her the other week. I saw Snow Allegra live.
Snow's beautiful.
I saw Snow live, and I remember Marlon was at the show too. Yeah, and I remember him texting me while we were there, and he's like, "I get why you're dating your girl now." But it's like, I saw her and I was like, "Yo, she's actually beautiful." There's people when you see them, you're like, "Oh, you're actually beautiful."
Without the behind the screen,
but it's also like very subjective too, right? Because I've seen plenty of women who are like say the same thing about someone like a Drake or someone like a Rome, and I'm like, because I'm a dude and I'm only into women, I don't see it, but for them, they see something that I don't see, and it's like it makes sense for them. True, right? There was something I was gonna bring up though.
Fuck. What about the world? Or an issue?
There was something that was funny that I'm trying to remember. I don't know. We talked about a lot of different things this episode.
What happened this week?
Russell Westbrook is on the Wizards now.
Yeah, got traded. Season starting. Season started what, 2 weeks from now?
That ass, like 2 weeks.
Wow. I feel like the bubble just ended. Like,
dude, the bubble ended
these guys like
a month ago.
That's wild.
I feel like it was a month ago, like just over a month ago. I just read a report, NBA to implement new resting policy for 2021 season, with teams prohibited from resting healthy players for any high profile nationally televised game. So basically,
that makes sense.
No load management for televised games.
That makes sense.
That means Kawhi is not sitting
but that makes sense, because what they're doing, people would pay big money for a ticket and the players didn't play. Like that would cheese me. I get why they're resting the players, but like, imagine you pay big ticket money for the game and the star doesn't play that game because he's just resting, not because he's hurt. Yeah, come on now.
Of course.
But did you see the rule they said about they will not be testing players for cannabis this year?
Thank God.
Everyone's gonna come ripped.
Like, they should have. No one's gonna show up to the games ripped.
Are you?
You think guys are the only guys who are showing up to games ripped?
What, JR?
But and anyone else? All the guys in suits who are not playing.
Listen, man, players are gonna pull up ripped.
You really believe that?
It's not like something they just said amongst the. It's not like something they just said amongst the league. Yeah. They made a public announcement that we will not be testing you. If you smoke marijuana. Yeah. If you make that a bold statement, mans are puffing before they roll, before they play. You know how many mans I know that play nicer when they're high?
I get that. I get that, but you're in the NBA now. You've been without playing with the weed.
All you had to do is let me know I could do it now.
So you're saying mans are gonna get max contracts now because they got weed in their system and they'll be playing better.
Listen, just don't be zooming up on man's eyes. Don't be doing
You think Harden would play high?
I don't know if he smokes.
All of them smoke.
You can't say all of them
smoke.
You can't say that.
You cannot.
You can't say that.
Look me in the eyes. You can't
say all of them smoke.
Ryan, you cannot convince me that man's like fucking Harden, LeBron, fucking Steph. You cannot convince me that none of these men don't smoke weed. You can't convince me that the best players in the league don't smoke weed. Not on a regular basis, but you can't tell me that they don't.
Like you're the guy and you don't smoke weed.
You cannot convince me. You can't convince me that they don't.
And you're rich.
LeBron,
No,
Steph,
I know
they live in California. It's legal there. You can't tell me that they don't smoke weed.
There's no way you can be that nice without smoking weed.
I'm not saying it has an effect on how they play, but you can't tell me that they don't dabble every now and then.
Yeah.
They definitely do. Oh, Harden? The strip
Why
club,
did you say Harden like that?
the strip club connoisseur.
Yeah,
You expect me to believe he's not in...
He's smoking.
He's smoking. If he's not smoking, he's getting secondhand high all the time.
He's smoking for sure. I don't even smoke and I'm smoking.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I don't even smoke.
It's gonna happen. But yo, shout out to NBA for being progressive.
Oh, they are.
Because I watch and I listen to the I Am Athlete podcast.
Yeah. I need to check that out.
It's actually really good. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's cool. I talked about the fact that because these are NFL players, I'm actually getting to understand them a bit more. You never see that shit while they're playing. And it's because now I'm realizing how much of a clamp the NFL has on their players. Right? Like they talk about how the NFL's like, we got to protect the shield, right? Like the logo, they got to protect it. Like it's almost like a fraternity in a way. And I know the NBA is in the same way, but one of the guys on the show, Fred, he basically said the NFL is afraid of giving the power to the players.
Like the NBA has.
The NBA has.
Right.
Like, even though the NBA organization still has a ton of power.
Yeah, but we know what it is. If a man's like, I don't want to be here, he's not going to be there. Like,
you know, like there was another podcast recently. I don't know if it's a podcast or a show, but LeBron was on it. And then Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, and this woman. And LeBron talked, like they asked him questions about the whole, the bubble situation when Milwaukee sat out that game.
For the
Black Lives
Matter stuff?
Not Black Lives, but when that guy got killed.
Oh, okay.
Right? And LeBron talked, because there were reports that LeBron walked out of the meeting, right? And he's like, yeah, I did. Because they had a meeting that night about the situation. And he was basically saying, like, look, a lot of us were saying, we're going to do whatever you guys want to do. You just got to give us a heads up, right? So that we all do the same thing together.
Like the players.
Yeah, he's like,
they can't make the players.
Yeah, because we don't know, like we didn't know what was going to happen the next game. So it's like, if you give us a heads up, we're boycotting this game, we'll all do the same thing. We're not going to look bad doing that.
Right.
But then he was like, we're in this meeting, and you know, it was just a lot. He's like, it was a lot of like talking on, going on, but no plans. So he's like, I just walked out. He's like, my time's valuable. I'm not gonna
sit here.
I'm not gonna sit here like if we don't have a plan. And then we came up with a plan the next day, and like obviously people talk, so that made reports. But then Richard Jefferson was like, look, I hate to break it to a lot of people, but the NBA only really needs like 4 teams. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, the NBA will make most of their money if Steph is playing.
Like the 4 main guys.
Yeah, he's like, if Steph's playing, LeBron's playing, Harden's playing, KD's playing, like if those guys say they're gonna show up, the NBA will make their money, even though we know that's not entirely true. But that's all they need.
Yeah.
He's like, it'd be great if everyone else shows up.
They're just saying like, you don't need a 30 team season. Like
you don't need the 30 teams. It's true. Like that's how much power the players have, right? And it's not like that in the NFL at all. Like despite how great Brady's been over the years, the NFL will survive. Brady,
they don't care.
That happened. He was injured for like,
they actually don't care about the players.
They don't.
They're like, this shit moves with or without you. Like
it's gonna keep moving.
This shit will move.
It's gonna keep happening.
Like,
right? So they do a lot of crazy things. Like right now in the NFL, they're incentivizing teams to hire
black people,
black coaches or whatever by giving, like straight up like giving bonuses teams, by giving teams like a 3rd round pick.
Oh, giving them a pick.
Yeah, because in NFL, they're like, it doesn't even matter. Like, yes, if you go in the 1st round, sick, you get more money, but
no, but there's nice guys. Yeah,
so they're just like, hey,
listen, there's so many damn players in the NFL. Like, not everyone even fits in the 1st or 2nd. Like,
dude, 70% of the league is black. 70% of the league is black, but like 90% of head office is white.
Because those are the guys who control it.
There you go.
You know what it is.
There you go. All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to bring up?
Are you doing Christmas shopping this year?
I had to take a deep sigh for that. So
I don't know how I feel this year.
the next 2 months are gonna be very expensive for me because I'm moving into a new place. I still plan on getting. There'll be gifts, but there'll be small gifts, and I think
Like just something.
yes, but it's not for like everyone. And I think at the same time, I think for this year, people should truthfully understand that hey, we've been in a pandemic all year. People's financial situations have changed. Don't be upset if you don't get like a crazy gift this
First
year.
of all, why are we talking about gifts? We're in the pandemic.
I know.
It's not even. It doesn't even need to be like, oh, like come on, like why are we talking about gifts?
I know. I get it.
Some people have jobs.
No, for real.
Some people literally don't have jobs. So you're basically saying for the people that do have jobs, if you still have a job, I need a gift. What? Like, what?
No.
People that still have a job, the bills keep still coming.
What I prefer, instead of like people focusing, if there's even a conversation around, are we doing gifts or like what? Just say, you know what? Let's just make sure we have at least a nice dinner together.
I would just say replace these gifts with moments.
Yeah, let's just get people together, have a nice dinner. That's what we do. Because like the whole gifting thing is gonna be tough for everyone right now. Let's just actually
put people in positions where it's like, oh, I can afford one for you. Or,
yeah, let's just actually make sure we have a nice dinner together.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree. What do you think? What do you think's gonna happen for New Year's? You think people are just gonna say fuck it?
I definitely think there's gonna be
I literally
cases
think
like
people are
that.
just gonna say fuck it this year.
Like honestly,
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Like honest to God though, I'll be real about it. Like if I was fully moved into my place before New Year's, I would have a small get together.
Yeah.
I'd have like 10 people at my place, like my close friends.
Yeah.
I would honestly do that, and I wouldn't feel any ways about it because I know where my friends are at, and I trust them. But I do know there's gonna be people wilding, for sure. Like, dude, a client that I was training this morning, he's from Hamilton. As soon as he turned 18, he went to school in the States for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so he's like, it's a different world, and like, he's like, he went to school in fucking Texas for his undergrad.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's actually a different culture. Like people down there, he's like, Southern hospitality is real. Like they're really nice. Have you ever been to Texas?
Austin.
I want to go to Houston and Texas so bad. But he's like, Southern hospitality is real. But
Austin,
it's like
shit. I want to go to Houston.
I want to go to Houston.
I was only there for South by.
But he's like, you know, everyone's nice. But he's like, dude, I was in college fraternity. He's like, all mans had guns. Because it's like,
that's just what it is.
It's part of their culture. Like they just have guns. Like they go hunting, they do all this shit, but they all have guns. He's like, I don't understand why there's an AK in my frat house. Like
chilling,
just chilling, right? But then he's like, the mentality right now in LA currently, they just went on a full lockdown.
They have curfew.
They have curfew, right? And he's like, it's because of this mentality of don't tread on me, like don't infringe on my rights. You're not going to tell me what to do, kind of thing.
You're talking about in LA or Texas?
In the States.
Oh, just in general.
Okay. The mentality is like, you can't tell me what to do. So yeah, there's going to be people wilding on New Year's because they're like, the fuck are you going to do about it?
Atlanta's still open.
Dude, I saw...
You seen the videos of it? Yo, I know...
Millions? That video?
Bro, I know people right now, personal people that are in LA, like they're in Atlanta. Like it's like nothing's happening.
Atlanta is its own country.
Bro. They haven't shut down at all year.
What's going on? Like I don't understand what's going on. Like what's the governor of that city doing?
I don't know what's happening out there. It's like it's almost like he's like whatever happens in Atlanta stays in Atlanta.
Because are black people not affected by COVID? Of course, I'm pretty sure we are. I feel like in a worse way than everyone else. I
genuinely feel like people are definitely getting sick in Atlanta, but just going under the radar. Like they're just not saying anything. They're just staying home.
Just like dying on the low. Because
I don't know, but I don't know what's happened. Like they haven't stopped.
Dude.
Like they've been partying nonstop, still in the streets, still going out. I've been still seeing like friggin' roller skate things open. Clubs are still packed with people, bottle of service. I'm like,
dog, I saw the video. Literally, was it you that posted it?
Yeah.
I was watching it and I'm like, okay, look, I'm all for people. I don't want to live in a world where COVID totally disrupts our life, right? As soon as these fucking vaccines come out, I'll be happy. Doesn't mean I'm going to take it for sure, but I just know shit's going to start changing. But listen, it's super problematic and kind of fucking annoying, like going on the gram and seeing people in masses at the club. It's kind of frustrating, bro. Like it actually is. Cause I see that and I'm like, yo,
Why you need to be at the club? I don't understand.
I'm like, yo, like, you don't think this is serious at all?
They don't.
I saw a tweet the other day where do you hear what happened to Carl Anthony Towns?
No.
Dude, he lost 7 people in his family, like close,
COVID?
including his mom, to COVID.
On God.
On God. On God. And someone's tweeted.
That's what he's dealing with right now.
Yeah. And someone retweeted. And because of like the NBA coming back and all these things, he put out a statement basically saying like, you better believe I'm going to do whatever I can to like keep my people safe and all this
Carl
shit.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the man lost his mom and 7 other people or 6 other people?
dude, look it up. And like, he was basically saying that someone retweeted it and said, you try telling Cat that
It doesn't exist.
one, it doesn't exist, or it doesn't really kill that many people, or like it only affects like certain people.
People are saying this to the people that's not affected by directly.
Yeah, but let it affect someone close to you, and you're like, oh, now my whole thing changes.
And it's such a selfish mentality we have here, man. Like in the world in general.
Yeah.
Like if it's not affecting me, hey, it's fake news. It's like, yeah, but that guy's mom just died. Okay, yeah, I feel for her, but what?
What are you talking about?
His mom just died. No, okay, but that's the one-offs. What? Like it's just.
What are you talking
If
about?
your mom dies, then what?
How are you gonna start acting?
You're not gonna say, "Oh, I'm just part of the one-off." Like,
it's crazy.
I don't know, man.
And I think, yeah. See, NBA. This was on CNN 3 hours ago. Right?
Oh, this just happened.
And then I saw this tweeted the other day.
Oh, okay.
But I guess CNN posted an article. It says NBA star Carl Anthony Towns says he has lost 7 family members to COVID-19. He says, I've been through a lot, obviously starting with my mom. Towns said on a video call with reporters on Friday because they're doing the reports and everything, right? Towns' mother, Jacqueline Towns, died in April of complications from COVID-19. On Friday, the 25-year-old told reporters that 6 other family members have died because of COVID. Last night, I got a call that I lost my uncle. I feel like I've been hardened a little bit by life and humbled. I've seen a lot of coffins in the last 8 months, but I have a lot of people who have in my family and my mom's family who have gotten COVID. I'm the one looking for answers still, trying to find out how to keep them healthy. It's just a lot of responsibility on me to keep my family well informed and to make all the moves necessary to keep them alive. Like, this shit's real for people, bro. It's real. Like, it's affected everyone in very different ways. So when people say shit like, this shit's a hoax, so it's not real, it's like, how can you like actually say these things?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
But they're saying it, as you said, because they don't have any real...
It's not their reality to them.
Yeah, they don't have any direct contact to it. So they're like,
that's sad, man. That's actually sad to hear. And I'm sure he's not the only one. It's just only because he's famous.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like, it made the news, you know?
Happened to a lot of people, man. Happened a lot. So, I don't know.
Stop fucking around, guys. Like, it's just like anything. The longer we keep fucking around, the longer we're in this. It's very clear. Like
look, I want to go back to fucking normal too, bro. Like you know what's crazy? Like, because our whole thing is about like relationships and business and all this type of stuff. Think about how much the dating landscape has changed because of COVID. Yeah. Right? I know people like finding ways around it, but literally one of my favorite pastimes as I've gotten older in life is just going to restaurants with my friends and eating.
Can't even do it.
And that shit is old. That is an archaic thing. You know, like humans for as long as you can remember have just been hunting, gathering, like eating food with people they like. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If I eat food with you, it's because I like you. Right? I'm not gonna
eat food and chill and talk. That's just the vibe.
Drink. That's what I'm gonna do. Can't do that now. So it's like, how about we all just smarten the fuck up and make this happen? And our governments kind of need to like fix that too, because
they're not giving people any alternative to fucking make it any easier. So, all right, well, I was saying to my mom, I'm like, I just hope, like, for everyone's sake, I just hope we all make it through this year. Because I feel like not in the bad way or a crazy way, but I feel like all the bullshit's about to happen to close this year out. Like, I just had this weird feeling that like all the bullshit. You know what I mean?
Crazy though.
You know what I mean? Like I just feel like it's gonna run this to the fucking end. Like
what's crazy?
Like
you and I had our very first initial discussions about COVID in the month of December
last year
with Warren on the podcast.
Right. Yeah, and we're here again.
We're here again.
Wow, I didn't even take that in. Yeah. And I was like, it's gonna be a long haul. You're like, no, it's not gonna be that bad.
No,
fucking here.
We're like, there's no way China's gonna let it get here.
Oh man.
And it's here. It's been here.
Honest, I just want to say, everyone be safe, because I really feel like this year's gonna run us to the end. Like I just feel like
it's gonna take us through the ringer,
bro. Like the last 2-3 weeks, like I just feel like just bullshit. I'm not even talking about people dying, just shit. I don't know what. I hope it's not like, I hope we just all get through. You know what I mean? Like this year has been bad from the first of the year,
yeah,
all the way through. I have no doubt that it's gonna go right to the 31st. Bullshit's gonna happen on the 31st. I don't know what the fuck, and I hope it's not that bad. But just everyone be safe. Fuck. That's all I can say, man.
That's it.
Until next week, guys. We out of here.
Peace.
Hello? We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.